Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center and I'm here with Ali with her movie Our Way Home. Let's take a look at the clip.
Hey, loser. Jamie!
You're in a chipper mood.
Ali, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Congratulations, because it's not your first film with us, so welcome back.
Yeah.
But for those who haven't seen your film, tell us a brief synopsis.
It's about a brother and sister, and they're on their way home for Thanksgiving, and they walk into a diner, and they have a bit of a racist encounter, and they end up being followed on the road, and you're expecting it to be someone from the diner, but it ends up being somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really loved your film. It was a very painful film to watch, especially in that diner. But it was such a wonderful film, really, really amazing cast as well. Where did the inspiration come for you in creating this particular project?
It actually came from a photograph of my father, one of his sisters, my aunt, and a family friend, and it was this photograph that depicted the three of them all standing around a 1950s Ford Falcon. And so the film was originally called Driving Our Mom's Falcon, and then we weren't able to get a Falcon, but we got an Oldsmobile instead, and then it became about getting the approval to actually include it in the title, and we weren't allowed to, but that's how the new title came about. And
well, I literally love the fact that you took this from a photograph and you turned it into a movie.
Yeah.
And I think it was so important as well. I mean, particularly a time period, because was it difficult to film a film in 1962? Like, it was very, I mean, how was that process? Because, I mean, things were a little bit different, things looked different. How was that?
Yeah, so I actually shot the film in Long Island, New York. And
wow.
Yeah, I was debating between California or New York, just because I've actually never shot in New York,
Nice.
even though I went to NYU, but I actually went to their campus in Singapore. So it was nice because there's a lot of space that the highways and the freeways, there's not many things on the sides of them that are screaming out 2017 when we shot it,
Yeah.
And just we were able to find streets and find a diner that felt reminiscent of that time period. And I mean, the diner, there's flat screen TVs everywhere, and so my production design team had to block everything out.
Oh, see, yeah, all those things. Otherwise, you don't have a problem there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was very powerful. You had a really good cast. You really felt they were brother and sister. It was just, you just kind of really felt that between them. And then, of course, you had the people inside the diner, etc., and obviously the gentleman at the end. But how was the casting process for you?
So actually, Anthony Ma, Jenny Sue, and Gareth Yuan, they were all friends of mine.
Love it.
But I actually had never worked with any of them before. And so for the three of them, it was all a new experience, but I was friends with them already. And so we worked in workshop for about a month of just developing their relationships and their creating their chemistry with each other. And then I casted Noam on the East Coast in New York.
So it's amazing. And so when you because there's obviously some very difficult moments in there as well, from a acting perspective. How do you approach that kind of thing? Are you quite hands-on, or how do you kind of approach those kind of moments?
Are you referring to some of the fight scene stuff?
Yeah, some of the fight scenes and things. Yeah.
In terms of the fight scene, I actually had an amazing stunt crew out in New York that we managed to find through some of my New York-based producers, and I think I am a huge fan of what stunt people have to do.
It's amazing.
They coordinated the fight, and then they also coordinated the chase scenes on the highway and stuff. And I mean, they're actually driving at 30 miles per hour.
Wow.
But they're creating that sort of all the movements and everything. And so there's that. And then in terms of the fight scene, it was just a matter of having the whole cast and crew on board to really be there and be present and be sort of like be able to trust themselves physically.
Yeah.
And that's also including the crew too, because me and my cinematographer, we decided that we would cover each actor, each character from their perspective or their shot, and just here's his take, and here's her take, you know, and really feel the camera within that fight, you know.
Yeah.
Like the camera's right there.
I mean, it feels like you're right in it as well. I mean, it really does. And I never underestimate as well two things. One thing is obviously filming in the car is you know, difficult, not as easy as it kind of looks, for one thing. And I think it's also important for any emerging filmmakers out to say that, you know, you had a full-on stunt team. This was not just like, hey, just throw a few punches and here we go.
Yeah.
This was like a real, you know, you need to have a professional crew there to help and support you. And I remember before you were saying about how much you respect people that work in that stunting as well.
Yeah.
So,
the stunt team also just got off of John Wick, actually.
Oh, you know, it's got off of John Wick, one of the biggest blockbusters of the year. But that's amazing, of course. That's why it's so wonderful. I think one of the things that, you know, that it addresses, which you mentioned last night as well, is that, you know, again, you were saying you don't really see many Asian American people from the 1960s as well, which is something else you wanted to kind of include and bring into the picture. And also what it was unfortunately like in certain parts of America. Sadly, some areas are still having to learn today. But, you know, was that something that you really wanted to show also as well?
Yeah, and I think when I saw that photograph, and I had seen it before, but I think, you know, the conversation has grown about Asian Americans and sort of their representation in mainstream media. And I think that photograph became something because of the conversations that I was having with people.
Yeah.
Like it was actually not my intent to make a film about that photograph. And then just through conversations and building these like the trust and the relationships with like my cast and crew, but then also with like my friends and family, like of like seeing that photograph and like saying, wow, there's a story here, because we just haven't seen these people before in mainstream media.
No.
And so like when I started sharing that photograph with different people, I would get a lot of different questions. So like people would ask me like, who are they? What are they doing? Where are they? Like, because the photograph just looked so Americana. And when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, you're right. But then I would also get questions like, there were Asian people in America in the 60s? And I'm like,
it's kind of sad when you have to even answer that question.
And it wasn't just like other people, it was Asian Americans who were asking me this question, and I was like, yeah, they've been around since like the 1800s, dude. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah.
And that was just so alarming to me. Like, we've seen so many stories about like Caucasians and African Americans and stuff, and we just haven't seen any stories about them that have made it onto like bigger screens.
And hopefully we need to change that and continue to do so. And thank you for making films like this. But also, I think as well, I love the way you lit the whole diner. It was a very powerful scene, very disturbing scene. I found it very hard to watch a scene like that, and as most people probably would as well. But that was wonderfully lit, and the way you kind of did that whole production, was that something you kind of wanted to get this kind of mystical, sort of almost kind of quite eerie kind of feel to it as well?
Yeah, so that scene for me, like since day one of like writing the script, was always meant to be a dream, sort of dreamlike feeling and dreamlike sequence.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to give an opportunity to an Asian American woman, an Asian American character, to like give her that opportunity and that space to do something that is so not 1960s.
Yeah.
Because no Asian American woman would be able to do something like that and stand up for herself and say, you know what, like, you know, I'm gonna play, you don't owe me, I'm gonna like stand up to this like racist like waiter and be like, here's the gum that I just like put in my mouth and like stick it to him.
I loved it so much. There's a moment in this film, if you haven't seen it, and this moment in the diner where the way she just walks over to, you know, turn on the jukebox and just plays that song and then just sticks her gum up, and you're like, it was such a great moment to see her do that. I loved it so much. What was the biggest challenge you had, Ali, in making the film?
You know, I think like you alluded to in the like you asked before, just like trying to make sure that I was that it all felt like it was of time period.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember when Shape of Water came out, and I heard like Guillermo del Toro on a panel, and he was talking about his production struggles and challenges, and he said on day one that Michael Shannon, you know, was driving one of these old cars, and he like drove it into a light post. And so he was like kind of half joking but being truthful, you know, that like, you know, these cars are challenging and like they're just old. They're very old.
Also, little things as well, like, you know, Game of Thrones just had a Starbucks cup in their last series. Like, I mean, it happens to a lot of different shows as well, doesn't it? So being authentic to that time, I think you did a fantastic job there with that. So
thank you. But yeah, no. So these cars are like very sensitive.
Yeah.
So like the red car would just like constantly just like the engine would just shut off in the middle of a take, and be like, and we'd have to like bring in like my Hertz rental and be like we gotta get the jump cables out now and like get it going again.
Did they have AC in those cars even?
No.
No, see, no AC. Can you imagine that, LA? No AC. So no, I think it's fantastic. What was it like to take this film then and put it on the big screen? New Filmmakers, you're back here with us again. Yeah. What is the feeling like for this particular film to have it there?
I mean, New Filmmakers is a great festival that, you know, I feel like really empowers like the new emerging filmmakers, and it was a great screening, and I think it was just a really warm and like understanding and empowering crowd that I've only gone at a couple other festivals and stuff where like the audience is really reacting reacting truthfully and emotionally to certain moments and stuff that sometimes I don't get at other festivals and stuff. Yeah. So thank you.
But we love having you here all the time.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
So I'm in San Francisco with the San Francisco Film Society doing a residency there, and I'm developing my first feature with the residency, and it's another inspired by a true event story of the 1960s pertaining to like the 1960s World's Fair and stuff.
Oh, I love it.
That was out in New York. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I know you've done a lot of different projects, but I always find you very inspiring to hear about, because you just always seem to have, your films always seem to be so relaxed, and I don't know what it is, but you always got a great energy.
Oh, thank you.
Which it's amazing. But what for you have you learned in your career thus far that you go by, any advice you'd have for any filmmakers out there?
I would say, as cheesy as it sounds, to just keep on believing in yourself and take, you know, moments in your own life and try to build on those moments in your own life to tell stories that are truthful.
Yeah.
I think there is something so powerful in telling stories that are truthful and whether it's emotionally or like factually based.
Yeah.
And I think that as filmmakers, you know, you really need to have your team, whether that's your cast and your crew or your friends and your family around you, and to build like your whole support system. Yeah. Because you need it. It's a hard job. It's a hard industry. But you know, you just have to keep on pushing and keep on trying.
You really do.
Yeah.
I believe you. Let's go and do it. No, Ali, thank you so much. Thank you. Please keep bringing movies to us. We love your work, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, Ali, I'll wait for everybody.